Buenos dias, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third webinar from Turespaña Brussels together with Travel Magazine. And this time today, we concentrate on the Kingdom of Navarre, the Navarre Effect. And for there, we have some speakers in Navarre, but coordinating everything from Turespaña in Brussels is this time, like always, Judith, Jonas for Travel Magazine in Mechelen. But I would say, first of all, welcome. And Judith, you have the floor to introduce the Navarre Effect webinar of today.
Yes, thank you very much, Robrecht. Bonjour à tous, goedemorgen, and welcome for those who join us for the first time. My name is Judith Portela, and I'm the person in charge of trade relations at the Spanish Tourist Board in Brussels. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Unfortunately, our director, Rafael Chamorro, could not attend, but I would like to thank all of you on his behalf for participating in this third webinar of the year in collaboration with Travel Magazine. Today, we'll get to know better the region of Navarre. It's one of those off-the-beat destinations that we want to highlight during the webinars of this year. And together with our colleagues from the Regional Tourist Board, Ana, Beatriz, and Jose Mari, we'll learn how the region has embraced tourism from an eco and sustainable approach, and how they are ready to welcome tourists again on a privileged, non-crowded and safe environment. And before giving the floor to them, I would like to remind you that you can type all your questions on the chat and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. So Ana, Beatriz, and Jose Mari, thanks again for giving us this opportunity and for being with us today. The floor is all yours.
Ok. No. A ver.
Ahora ya estás compartiendo.
Ya, no. Ven un momentito, José.
Poner un PowerPoint o así, ¿sí, no?
Sí, el de... Ahí.
¿Este?
Arriba. Ahí.
No sé.
No.
El que está a la derecha del todo.
A la derecha, el PowerPoint. Sí,
Ok,
Eso es.
perfecto. Thank you.
¿La pantalla entera?
Aquí, la pantalla entera. So, it's okay?
Yeah.
Can you see it properly? Sorry for the inconvenience. Well,
Perfect.
let's start it. My name is Ana Lizarraga. I am the person responsible for internationalization in the government of Navarre for tourism. And first of all, to thank Robrecht for the kind invitation of Travel Magazine. And at the same time, to thank Rafael, even he is not here with us, but he is here with us. And of course, you did the professional team we have in Brussels for the Belgium and Luxembourg market. My colleagues here, Beatriz and Jose Maria, as Robrecht introduced them, and me, we are going to present, we are going to give you a different presentation of Navarre, an unusual one. That's because people, visitors, clients coming to Navarre are not just tourists. They must share our language, our history, and our culture. So we need them to be engaged, involved, committed with our region. That's very important to enjoy the Kingdom of Navarre. So at the very beginning, Navarre at a glance, just a tiny overview. Okay, Navarre, as you can see, is strategically located in the north of Spain. It has been the entrance, the gate door of different civilizations, Roman, Jewish, Muslim, arrived to Spain through Navarre. And from the Middle Age, with the Pilgrim's Way to Santiago, it was the same mix up of civilizations. That has been very important to Navarre because we learned to live all together from the very beginning. So we have a border with France, more or less 163 kilometers of border with France. And so our French people are our natural neighbors, as well as people from Basque Country, Aragon, and Rioja. So French people, people from Aragon and from Rioja and Basque Country are our proximity market as well for tourism. On the other side, as you can see, Navarre has the shape of a bouquet of flowers. French people used to say that we are a bouquet de fleurs. That's the shape of Navarre. And that's because we are in between two climate areas, the Atlantic area and the Mediterranean area. That means that Navarre is a kind of tiny continent, a small continent. So in the north, close to the Basque Country, landscapes, very green landscapes, like those of Basque Country. On the western and northwestern side, we have the mass forest of Irati. We think it's more or less the second after the Black Forest in German. And we have spectacular mountains, Pyrenees mountains as well. If you travel to the south, you can find at the very center of the region, Pamplona, its capital town, one of the greenest cities in Europe as well. And going on to the south, you are able to find the most septentrional desert in Europe, the Bardenas Desert. We will see it afterwards. So let's see. Connections, how to reach Navarre. We have daily services with Barcelona and Madrid, of course, that allows us connections with the main hubs all over Europe and all over the world. But at the same time, since 2019, we have a direct flight to Frankfurt. That's because according to the European strategy, smart specializations, we have very priority sectors, such as automotion, renewable energies, agro-food, health care industry as well, and tourism and audiovisuals and creative industries. So this flight is very important for this industry. We have a Volkswagen company in Pamplona. We have been producing for the 30 last years renewable energies, mainly electric clean energy, and we sell it to the rest of the world. So we provide, tourism, these sectors and the activity of these sectors for the so-called travel industry. For us, there are people arriving to Navarre for business purposes, but at the same time, they love our country and they want to come back on holidays. So it is one opportunity to work with the tourism sector. At the same time, we have direct flight to Brussels from Bilbao. Bilbao is just 130 kilometers from Pamplona, and it is connected by motorways. So you can reach Bilbao and afterwards to arrive to Pamplona in more or less 1 hour. It is not pointed here, it is not on the map, but we have connections for low-cost flights with Biarritz. Biarritz is at about 80 kilometers on the border. So quite well connected by flight. But for Navarre, it is very important sustainability. So if you arrive, even by plane, you have the network of roads to go from the north to the south, to travel from the north to the south, to the west to the east. A radial network of roads and motorways that are disseminated all over Navarre. But we try to suggest the train service because we have several daily train services in Navarre to Barcelona and mainly to Madrid. And sometimes it is not only a sustainable option, more sustainable option, but you can save time as well if you take the train from Pamplona, because you arrive to the very city center of Madrid. And for instance, you can take the train at 6 in the morning in Pamplona, and at midday, 12, you are in Sevilla. So that allows to design different packages, not only with Navarre, but with the rest of regions and community in Spain. Well, some figures, just some figures. Population, about 700,000 of inhabitants, a tiny region, size 10,000 square kilometers. Cohesion policy category, it is very important for us because we are one of the more developed regions all over Spain, according to indicators of the European Union. That allows us a very professional welcoming for you coming to visit us. GDP, of course, quite high, and the real growth rate as well. Annual unemployment from 2018 was just 7.5%. Of course, now, unfortunately, because the pandemic, it will have raised some points, I'm afraid, but as in the rest of Europe as well. Well, as I said, we are the third highest GDP per capita in Spain. You can see it in the map. It is very important. After Catalonia and Madrid, the Standard & Poor's rate, of course, is good. As we talk about 7.5%, the lowest unemployment rate in Spain in 2018. The pity, we will see now what is happened after the pandemic when we get over it, that we are sure we will get over it. And that's the most important issue, talking about the economy of Navarre. We have our own taxation. That means that taxation system. That means that we have taxes from people in Navarre, and afterwards we have an agreement with the state that we review every 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years. We pay for the state services, but we have our own taxation system that gives us a really autonomy and a really freedom as well. Well, for us, young people are our future. Yes. So we have 2 universities in Pamplona, a public and a private one, another public university in Tudela, as well as one open university in Pamplona as well, and vocational training very well known. That's because, as we talk about, we have very priority sectors such as automotion or renewable energies that are really important for us. We have, related to tourism, we have worked with the universities lately in 2019 with a master with Chinese people who come here to Navarre to learn Spanish. So through tourism, we show them this region through the tourism, not only theoretical lessons, but through the tourism with an agreement with the university, we show them the particularities of Navarre. Well, our first cluster, tourism cluster, because a healthcare system is really well known, not only in Spain, but all over the world. We have the public system with research as well, but we have the private hospital of Clínica Universitaria de Navarra. That means that even during the pandemic, people arriving from all over the world came here to go on with their treatments, heart illness, as well as soft illness. That's why we, through the cluster, the healthcare tourism cluster with the sector, with the hospitality and catering sector, we designed a kind of welcoming services. So we are able to offer every think people arriving to Navarre because a health question about tourism services. Well, I wouldn't like finishing without saying that we were the first observatory, sustainable observatory of the INSTO network in Spain and in Europe. I understand that this slide is a bit busy, crowded, sorry, it's too much information, but as Lord Kelvin used to say, what is not defined cannot be measured, what is not measured cannot be improved, and what is not improved is always degrade, and we can't allow Navarre to degrade. I highlighted these ideas so to know that we did some San Fermin studies. We hope to change the model of San Fermin in next years. We haven't had San Fermin for the last 2 years, but we are going to change the model as well. Natural areas of Navarre have a special protection from the night of times. Has been that way in the Kingdom of Navarre from all times, very, very protected. That's why we preserve our landscapes. City break, because as we said, for Navarre, there are no distances. So for us, city break is from, oh, sorry, I forgot. We have a flight to Canary Island with Winter Airline as well. So we can design different packages through Navarre, from German, from Brussels, Luxembourg, and afterwards to go in a direct flight to Canary Island. So sometimes we have city breaks for concerts or events from Canary to Pamplona as well. Way of St. James, my colleague Beatriz is going to talk about afterwards. Tourism satellite account, that's really important for us because as we said, we leader a sustainable development. So not only tertiary sector as tourism, but primary and secondary sectors as well are engaged in the development, the economic development of Navarre, mainly in rural areas. Sensors with pedestrian bicycles, vehicles counters. My colleague Jose Maria is going to talk about it. And some studies about social media, and lately there are not there, but studies related to the pandemic, unfortunately. Well, that's the Navarre tourist industry, and as we were required, we are going to talk now about cycling, hiking and nature, camping, gastronomy and wines, and Santiago Way. So, Jose Maria, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, Robert. Good morning, everyone. This is Jose Maria Martinez. I'd like to talk to you about cycling tourism and also trekking tourism. That's why for me it's a huge pleasure to be here talking to you, to such a cycling lover country like Belgium and of course Luxembourg. That's why I wanted to start with this slide. I mean, of course, you know, I suspect you know who is this guy on the right side of the picture, of course. But maybe you don't know who is on the left side. He's Miguel Indurain. He also won 5 Tour de France, which is quite nice. So both together, Belgium and the Kingdom of Belgium and the Kingdom of Navarre, we have 10 Tour de France, which is a tremendous success, I think. So I just wanted to talk in that, but I want to talk to you about a more gentle and more leisure-oriented cycling. That's why I want to show you this slide, this picture with the map of the Eurovelo network, which is, as you know, a network of 15 Eurovelos routes, which crosses the whole continent. And 2 of them, as you see here on the map, we are here located in Navarra in the Western Pyrenees, are in Navarre. I mean, this is the number 3, which comes from Belgium, actually. And this is number 1, the Eurovelo number 1, which is coming from the Norwegian fjords, by the way, the islands, and finally to Navarre, towards the south of the Iberian Peninsula. Here, I can show you. You can see here the Belgian country, and also Navarre here. We are linked in some way, in cycling way. The Eurovelo 3, which is also called the Pilgrim's Route, because it coincides with the St. James route, the Camino de Santiago. It crosses from the northeast of Navarre to the southwest. And this is the Eurovelo 1, as I was mentioning before. It's coming from the coast, the Atlantic coast. It comes from the coast of France. And this is a very good example of how it looks, the Eurovelo 1. Why there is a tunnel there? Well, there's a tunnel there. These bikers are coming from a tunnel because the Eurovelo 1 is built on old railways. I mean, train tracks, which were refurbished recently and overall completed. And thanks to this project, the Eurovelo 1 is absolutely terminated from the north of Europe to the south of Europe in Navarra, which is a cross-border project. We have 5 greenways. 2 of them, this one, which is the Bidasoa Greenway, and this one, which is the Plazaola Greenway, have been recently united by the project, which is a cross-border project because it's coming also in a cooperation with the authorities of the Western Pyrenees here of France in this case. And thanks to this project, the Eurovelo 1 has become fully completed. It's a cross-border project which is called Ederbidea. Ederbidea is a Basque word meaning beautiful path, literally. And it's a project with public sector, but also private sector, which is just the last year have become completed. I like a lot this picture because you see that it's not only tunnels or railways, there are also another kind of paths. Also, this is part of the Eurovelo 1, by the way. But I like this picture because you can see here that we combine here the sustainable tourism and also the renewable energy system, which was mentioned by my colleague Anna before. I also like this picture a lot because we can see the contrast with between the desert, the most northern desert in Europe, you can say that, which is called Bardenas Reales, Royal Bardenas, and the north of Navarre. But between this picture and this picture, there are more or less 80 kilometers, maximum 100 kilometers, which is quite stunning. This is another example of that. Let me show you a short video, please.
Hello, my name is Sol, and we are right now at Biltegia. Biltegia means old warehouse. And this is because we are located at the old warehouse of the old train station of La Tasa. Biltegia is a women-led project with the aim of promoting sustainable tourism as well as an active lifestyle. In here we can find a restaurant. We have a small allotment where we try to outsource our own veg. We have a small shop with organic and local produce, and we also have a service for renting bikes and a small workshop for small repairs. We find ourselves in one of the main starting points for the Plazaola Green Path. The Plazaola or Tren Txiki was a small train that used to link San Sebastián to Pamplona until 1953. And nowadays its old tracks have been reconditioned to give life to the 63 kilometers of green path in which hikers and cyclists can enjoy its beautiful views. You can visit picturesque villages such as Lecumberri and enjoy a drink around the old town or by the old train station. You can also stop at Perruarri Museum in Leiza or simply explore the 19 tunnels within the path, including Withis, with its 2.7 kilometers is the longest tunnel of the green paths in Europe. Plazaola is one of the 5 cyclist paths you can find in Navarra. We have more than 120 kilometers through which the traveler can discover its history, culture and natural charms. Plazaola, Bidasoa, Irati, Tarazónica y the Vasco Navarra will take you through mountains, fields, vineyards and rivers. To discover them is the best way to discover Navarra's kingdom at your own rhythm. So grab your bike, come to discover Navarra.
No. ¿Ya está? ¿Y ahora? ¿Qué hago? ¿Cuál? Este, el zoom. ¿Y ahora?
PowerPoint. PowerPoint. No, a la derecha.
Mira, ahí.
Ahí, eso. Venga. Ahí, eso.
Wow. I hope you enjoy it. Now I'd like to give you a short overview on trekking on Navarra. And I would like to start with this picture, which is again, the desert of Bardenas Reales. Again, the contrast with the north. This is not so far from Pamplona, by the way. This is the natural park of Urbasa, I guess. Yes, it is. Urbasa, meaning water forest, let's say, something like this. Again, the Pyrenees, there are, look at this contrast. I mean, between this picture and this picture, there are maximum 100 kilometers. Of course, those people look quite experienced people, hikers, but you don't have to be an experienced hiker to experiment one of the 30s trails that we have listed in the website. This is also for general public, for families, even children, and of course, why not? For horses and for horse riders. Let me show you a short video about that.
Hello, we are Alberto Campo and Coldo Villalba, nature guides and cultural guides of the company Tari Natura.
Navarre is a land of diversity. Talking about Navarre is talking about ancestral history. Here we have the oldest language of Europe, Euskera. Talking about Navarre is talking about myths, legendary battles, art. Never forget the way of St. James, Camino de Santiago. Navarre is gastronomy, but it's also a privileged place due to the degree of preservation of its nature and landscape.
You can be in a desert like in Bardenas, and in the same day, visit the alpine peaks of the Pyrenees in Roca Valley, going from the Mediterranean landscape to one of the best examples of Atlantic forest, like the place that we are now, the Irati Forest, which is the second biggest European forest, just after the German Black Forest. Hemingway said that it was the last medieval forest in Europe.
If you come to Navarre, you'll be able to travel it comfortably through an extensive net of long distance and local paths, accompanied, if you wish, by the culture and local guides of Navarre, who will be at your disposal to show you what is not usually seen and give a deeper sense to your experience.
Anytime it's good to come and enjoy our paths and culture. In winter, we can go over our paths with snowshoes or skiing in the higher areas, or enjoy the blooming of flowers and the singing of the birds in spring. During the summer, you can walk on the shadow without leaving our forest, or bathing in crystal clear water rivers. In autumn, Pick up and taste the seasonal products such as mushroom and wander with the incredible range of colors that decorate our forest and river gorges.
We have over 1,000-year-old castles and villages which defending our old kingdom of Navarre, and prehistoric monuments of over 5,000 years, and all this in an area of very low population density, where tranquility, if you seek it, it's guaranteed.
That brings me to the end of my part. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Beatriz.
Thank you, Jose Mari. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for being here. My name is Beatriz, as Jose Mari said, and I'm going to introduce to you three products, three topics: campings, gastronomy and wines, the best parties for me, and Camino de Santiago, the Pilgrim's Way to Santiago, right? Starting with campings, it's not my aim telling you how many campsites we have in Navarra. You can see on the map, the little black dots means all the campings we have distributed through all the region. But instead, I could like to outline the managed model our campings follow. I'm talking about nature. I'm talking about safe. I'm talking about, of course, I'm referring to the sustainable tourism. A campsite that uses sustainable tourism is worried in eco-construction, as our campsites do. They are respectful with nature. They work with renewable energy, all of them. And inside of their philosophy, they work with social responsibility. So we have a very big network of eco campsites in Navarra, in which practice markers are present in their daily work. I'm going to show you a very short video in which you can see an experience of one of those campsites, that it could be one of those ones. Let's see the video.
Welcome to Camping Aritzalecu, an ideal destination for those who enjoy direct contact with nature and sports. A work team in love with the Ayot Reservoir and really committed to sustainable development offers you the facilities for a complete and satisfying experience in Navarre.
Our campsite is located in the middle area of Navarra, close to the natural park of Urbasa and Andia, and just 40 kilometers away from the capital, Pamplona. Nearby, we can find the popular Jacobean Way. If you walk along this ancient pilgrim path, in less than 20 kilometers, you can visit historical places with beautiful examples of Gothic and Romanesque art, such as the monumental town of Estella, Puente la Reina, or the monastery of Iranzu. Discover original paths with views over the reservoir, bungalows, plots with electricity, and plenty of facilities to entertain young people. The sailing school offers different activities like sailing courses, windsurfing, paddle shop, canoes, and sailing boat rides to enjoy the turquoise waters. The natural park of Urbasa and Andia offers a route full of beautiful landscapes with spectacular river sources which makes a perfect environment for hiking and mountain biking. Navarra is the cradle of good wine and a rich and varied gastronomy based on local products. It's possible to take guided visits to artisan cheese and honey producers. With a clear environmental commitment, Aritzaleku campsite has implemented some measures like solar panels for hot water and electricity energy, a selective waste collection system, and a composting area. It is also important to work with local entities for the conservation and maintenance of the surroundings of the Ayoz Reservoir, a unique and natural space.
Nice, my region, isn't it? Well, let's go to talk about gastronomy and wine. I have to tell you that both in Spain and abroad, Navarra is known as the kingdom of the fine food. As you can imagine in the map, you see the Pyrenees in the north. You have seen a lot of pictures right now, and the desert of the Ardennes in the south. It's a very huge variation between this landscape and that one. And of course, we can say that our gastronomy is as varied as our landscape. We have 11 denominations of origin that, you know, are products that they really follow a very strict quality system. We have asparagus from Navarra, we have peppers, we have extra virgin olive oil, we have two kinds of cheeses, Roncal cheese and Idiazabal cheese. We share this denomination with the Basque Country, our neighbors. Lamb from Navarra as well is a denomination of origin. Navarra wines, of course. We have Rioja wines as well, this little area that we share with La Rioja. I just wanted to point out, making a connection with Belgium, that in the Brussels World Cup that has been celebrating last month, and they were exclusively dedicated to the Rosé wines, the denomination of origin Navarra has been the most awarded among the Spanish wines. You have 5 gold medals and 3 silver medals. They will be prepared here when you come to visit us and you can taste them. We have Pacharan, of course, that is a liqueur very famous after a nice dinner or lunch, and Cava. But the point is, where can we taste those products? Well, you can choose either in a restaurant or in one of the 4 Michelin star restaurants we have in Navarra, beautiful ones, or in the streets, inside of the bars, standing up in the streets, in the terraces. And what do we taste here? Pinchos. What is pinchos? Well, pinchos is what makes Navarra different. We could say that it's a specific local gastronomy custom, served in small portions, very sophisticated, as you can see here in those pictures. And we can talk about high cuisine in miniature. It's a perfect combination of modernity and tradition. And let's see a short video about this topic about gastronomy in Navarra.
Hi, this is Fram from Nova Tour Guides. As you can see, Navarre is a land of diversity, and this diversity also shows in our gastronomy. Coming to Navarre, it is being able to collect white asparagus in the spring or roast our incredible piquillo peppers in the fall. But you can also learn that from the hands of a shepherd that a good cheese starts with good grass. And if we talk about our wines and wineries, you can do tastings in incredible wineries surrounded by modern art, or you can go all the way into the fields and help with harvesting. To tell you the truth, to understand the greatness, the soul of our wines, you need to come and walk on our vineyards. With all of these incredible nature products, our gastronomy, our food experiences are going to be incredible. We can start from the top on Michelin star restaurants where the tradition and the avant-garde techniques get together. But also you can go to our steak houses where the tradition, it is a must issue. And if you want something a little bit lighter, then you go for tapas, you go to our bars. And as we say, the tapas are high quality cuisine in small tastes. As you can see, Navarra's gastronomy is all of our senses. Come visit Navarra.
Okay, last topic, and with this I finished. The pilgrim's way to Santiago. That is Jacobeo, is this year, and I suppose next year. I don't want to talk about any particular point about the Camino de Santiago, the origin, the ways you can practice it, because it's worldwide known. But I just want to point out two aspects that in Navarra we are working in the Camino. One is innovation, and the other is going to be accessibility. We are working in one tool that let pilgrims know the availability of accommodation in real time. So if I am here in Pamplona and next stop is going to be in Puente la Reina, I know in the morning where I'm going to have space. I don't have to risk the lack of the place. And here you have the website we are working on. About accessibility with the ONCE, that is a blind international known foundation, we are working in a project called Path for Everyone. This is for all the regions in Spain during the French way to Santiago. We are creating accessible routes for everybody. We are making diagnosis of accessible infrastructures as accommodation, restaurant, leisure, so on. And we are working on the promotions to use the application, and we are creating an informative website with all the physical and technological resources to make that itinerary possible. This is the entrance of the Camino de Santiago to Pamplona, to the city center. You see how beautiful walls we have. This is Roncesvalles, the entrance from the north, because we always say that everybody knows Galicia is the end of the Camino, but not a lot know that the door from Europe of our Camino de Santiago is Navarra. A short video about the Camino.
Hello,
My name is Ursula from Pilgrim Pathways. The Camino de Santiago is the first European cultural itinerary for its social and cultural value, as well as being a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its outstanding universal value. The pilgrimage to the tomb of the Apostle St. James from the most remote corners of the world is a unique phenomenon. Navarra is the gateway of pilgrim Europe and preserves a magnificent Jacobean cultural legacy along the nearly 400 kilometers covered by the 4 routes that cross its territory. In the Pyrenees, in the north of Navarra, on the so-called French Way, one of the most important of the pilgrim routes, we find Roncesvalles, with her Gothic cloister and the Church of Santa Maria la Real, the first important Jacobean enclave in Spain. A landscape of beech and oak trees, cattle pastures and villages born from the Camino with the typical rhythms of rural life will accompany our first steps until we reach the city of Pamplona. The harmonious architectural beauty of the Romanesque hermitage of Santa Maria de Unate, which has been the subject of innumerable theories as to its origins and the reason for its location, make it one of the most enigmatic churches of the entire Camino. Additionally, competing interpretations of its symbolism and purpose. At Puente la Reina, we will cross the town medieval bridge over the Arga River, continuing along an old Roman road across vineyards towards La Rioja. On the way, we will visit Estella, a city noted by Aymeric Picot for its beauty, joy, and good food in the 20th century in the Codex Calixtinos. Come to Navarra and celebrate with us the Holy Year, the Xacobeo 2021. Get to know its natural beauty and cultural legacy, both of which are part of the shared history that played a role in the formation of Europe, the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela.
Well, that brings me to the end of the part of my talk. I just want to thank you, all of you, for being behind. I want to thank you, Travel Magazine, and Judith and Rafa, for giving us the opportunity of opening this window to a land that is really fascinating, at least for me. So thank you, and I'm going to hand over to Robert. Thank you.
Gracias. You hear me?
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would go back to one of you. Thank you for your presentation. The title, the motto of today's webinar is the Navarre Effect. So who can explain me what is the meaning behind the question mark, the Navarre Effect? I think, Anna?
Yeah, okay. That's an idea. And as I said at the beginning of my presentation, to have the Navarre effect, you must come to Navarre. And something that we thought about before the pandemic, because we have to offer the best of our region. And so the best of our region is a total. It is not just a reservoir of tourism. So you must come here, you must know what we are, where we are, who is going to share with you your history and your landscape and so on. And that will be the real opportunity to have the Navarre effect. It is not possible to have the Navarre effect without sharing the complete way of life of Navarrese people.
It's very clear.
That's in short, is to experience. In short, it's to experience.
Okay, that's very clear. You were talking about language, and we see some billboards, Reino de Navarra, in old Spanish. So somewhere I glimpsed, or there was some glimpse of a very old, if not the oldest language in Europe. So what does it mean? Is Navarra is not the same as Castellano, is not the same as Catalan, is not the same as French. Is it one of the oldest spoken still languages then in Europe?
Well, in Navarre, we have both two official languages, Spanish, as you know, Castellano, and Euskera as well. But Reino comes from old times. It comes from Latin, and that means that we have been autonomous. We have been a kingdom since the night of times. So, and we preserve this condition according to our agreement with the state, and we have freedom to have our own taxes. That gives us a real freedom, and that's why we thought, perhaps at the very beginning, we thought it sounds a bit old, the question of reino, but at the same time, it defines our ideology and our way of life. And on the other hand, perhaps my colleague, Jose Maria, can speak a bit about Euskera. It's one of the, as you see at the presentation, one of the oldest language in Europe. It doesn't come from Latin, of course.
Well, yes, actually, if you see, Robert, all the names, the toponyms, the toponymia in Navarre are basically from the Basque language. I mean, I mentioned before the Urbasa Natural Park. Urbasa is a Basque name. I mean, usually the words here are Basque because originally the Basque language, the Euskera, is the original language in Navarre. I mean, it's not coming from Latin at all. It was already here with the Romans came here 2,000 years ago. So yes, it is actually in terms of Europe continent. Yes, indeed, it's the oldest language in Europe.
But we preserve it. As I said, Navarre is a kind of mix of cultures. And as a matter of fact, the king, Charles III, issued the privilege, the union privilege. That means that even in Pamplona capital, there were 3 different neighbors. One neighbor for Jewish people, another neighbor for French people, and another neighbor for Navarrese people. And the 3, the whole time fighting one against the other, but at the same time co-living. Perhaps we invented the co-living. And from this moment with Charles III, we began to understand ourselves to prosper the economy of Navarre. So we have been open to any civilization and to anyone arriving to Navarre. That's why it's a kingdom, but it is a very open kingdom that gives us our freedom.
I want to add one thing. When in the year 75 after Christ, when the Romans arrived to Pamplona, they say, oh, these people that is here, they were the Basque. They are very rude, and they are all the time speaking in a strange language that we don't really know. So that's the origins of Pamplona and Navarra.
Okay, before going on, thank you to speak a little bit or to explain a little bit the present protocols around the COVID situation. I would like to go back to one point, is that you have shown nature, cycling, hiking, mountain bikes. It gives me the impression you must be a mature user of the cycles and the mountain bikes, or does it also, the landscape allows amateurs in the real sense of the word to trek and to hike and to walk through Navarra?
I mean, it's for, as I mentioned before, it's for everybody. It's for general public. There are amateurs and there are experienced people. They are coming from abroad. There are also local commuters, of course. The typical weekenders particularly now in this middle of this pandemic. Of course, the mountains are full of people with the bicycles, but I mean, this Eurovelo number one, particularly the Eder Bidea and also the Eurovelo number 3 is, of course, it's part of the whole European project, which is not so only for experienced people, which is, well, very common in Belgium. We know that, but also for any kind of person, of course.
But it's true that for us it's a mature destination on cycling and trekking.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
We are very, we get on use.
Yeah, it's a very, very for leisure.
And mixed audience for the clients, very mixed. Younger families, singles, couples.
Actually, most of the bicycles are more or less from 50 years old and even more, 60, 70. Why not? This, I mean, yeah, of course.
We have, Robert, we have studied the German market coming to Navarre, and most of them were over 50s and willing to enjoy nature, landscape, cycling, and in general, sustainable tourism. So we don't have yet this study for Belgium and Luxembourg, but for us it is important, and we talk to Rafael and to Judith to have it. On the other hand, we have suppliers for any kind of niche. So you can come with your couple, with a group, with your family, with children, with grandparents. It doesn't matter because our suppliers are able to adapt. They are not, we escape from fixed packages. We want the package done for each one. So we can try with them.
Okay. I see that Navarra has a very fragmented landscape. So it's not big cities, it's smaller scale. So what about the accommodation and in today's pandemic? Are the accommodations open now? Are they starting to be open? How are the protocols for the clients coming, let's say, piano, when the borders are gradually open?
We work with the hospitality sectors, and they are working with the state protocols from the ministry. From the very beginning, they, through the different commissions, they began to work with the ministry to design this kind of protocols. Through the minister with the sector, through their commissions. And so we have protocols for each one of our accommodations. The problem is more with bars, restaurants, and so on, because that means that you are not allowed to be inside the bars and the restaurants. But at this very moment, we are using terraces, and our weather in Pamplona is not the weather of Andalusia, but it is quite a nice weather. So people are enjoying these kind of new places. For instance, in the running of the bulls that we don't use anymore because on the other hand, we don't have San Fermines, but outside the running of the bulls, the local administration, the town hall allowed several bars and restaurants to put terraces. So it's a really nice place to enjoy. And we manage. That's because we are a tiny region. We all of us, every one of us know each other. So we try to cooperate public administration with private sector. So for the time being, the problem is more the borders from abroad, your borders. That's the same with our French neighbors. They want to arrive. They used to come by their own, but now they have the border closed, and it is the same in other countries. The question is, when are we going to be open? I hope all together, according to the instruction of the European Commission and so on. But we are prepared. We of course are, and we have tourists. We have visitors as well. I remember the Edad Beragu. It's a tiny hotel that is it's complete with not many rooms, but they offer show cooking, they offer visits and everything close to these castles that has been the frontier of Navarre. And as he said, most of them were people coming from United Kingdom. So we don't know, perhaps to Bilbao, we don't know, to Biarritz, so, but they
But
are.
what is your color now? What is internationally speaking, according to the EDC, what is your color? Are you orange? Are you red? Are you green?
The color we don't have yet a color, I am afraid.
Yeah, in the European.
Let's say the Balearic Islands we have a green color now. You can go there, or
But
Navarra has what?
We are not green yet. But
no, I'm afraid the green not.
Not yet. Yeah.
Not yet.
But I think it's more related to the vaccination because you know it's a problem because Navarra has always been the head of this pandemic area. So when the rest of the communities were suffering the second or the third ola, I don't know how to say
wave.
The wave, yes.
Yeah.
And we were already getting it over, and now we are at the head of it. So we are in a very particular moment, but at the same time, we are going quite quickly with vaccination, and we have a spectacular healthcare system. So we organize ourselves in a very proper way. So we hope I hope we in the 9th of May, it is said that Spain is going to be open. So from then on, we hope
it is expected to be more and more often. Open the country. It seems that the progress of the vaccination is going quite good now. And as you know, by June it will be also implemented this European Union kind of green card health.
The green certificate, European green certificate.
In the next weeks, it will be very fast, the vaccination. I think by July, maybe we'll be already the whole continent.
We hope so.
I am impressed by the diversity of what Navarra has to offer. I must say, we have already, it's not the first time we do a region of Spain together with Turespaña. And today, the 1 hour has passed like just like a blitz. So I'm very impressed by your various aspects from gastronomy to culture to sustainable tourism, cycling, hiking, kayaking. It's very, very impressive. I'm quite positively surprised by all the riches you offer. Not only the bouquet de fleurs, as Madame said, but very impressed. And Reino de Navarra and the representatives today, King, Princess, or Queen, whatever, I would say thank you very much. We have not to forget, of course, the vicinity of La Rioja and your gastronomy and the wines, but the Pyrenees are not far away neither. And the mobility with air, rail, and road is excellent to go and to come from everywhere. And not to forget, you are one of the top economic wealthy regions in Spain. Bravo. And that reflects also the variety and the richness of the touristic offer for the international clientele. We are very happy to have learned a lot today. Thank you very much. And I would say, Judith and Jonas, thank you also. To all panelists, thank you. And to the representatives of the Kingdom of Navarra, we see each other with you very soon. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. We will wait. We wait for you in the Kingdom of Navarre.
With pleasure.
Experiment the Navarre Effect.
It's good to see you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.